So you're starting to learn music composition and you're wondering, do I need to learn how to write music? Do I need to learn how to read scores? Do I need to learn how to write scores? Well, it's kind of a complicated answer. But yes, I will tell you from my experience as a composer working with all different kinds of genres. I will give you my tips on why you should go one way or the other, if you should even bother how to write scores or not, because it's kind of a good question, right? And you have the right to know. So let's start with one question. What type of music are you doing right now? Are you doing hybrid orchestral music only with like sound libraries and working alone in your basement and then just having fun? Or maybe you don't need to learn how to write scores because you don't have to communicate with other musicians that way, to communicate what your ideas are and to have them record them in a studio. But for you, for this kind of specific person that I know a lot of my viewers are, there's one thing that you're missing out on if you don't really consider to learn how to write music and you're doing this kind of orchestral music. It's that you don't have access to the repertoire at all. You don't know how Mahler writes. You don't know how Beethoven writes. You unfortunately don't know how Shostakovich writes a symphony. All of this knowledge is kind of lost to you, and you don't have access to it, unfortunately. Really, I mean, there's probably people trying to put these symphonies into MIDI files and trying to sell them. I mean, this might be a good way to make money right now. But unfortunately, right now, if you're in this situation, you're pretty much stuck with the knowledge there is online about how to orchestrate, which is not necessarily what, I mean, is there like a great master teaching a YouTube channel or something? Or maybe it's me, I'm this master, I will be... Yes, actually, that's the type of content that I try to give. But yes, you don't have access to this, so you're kind of missing out on this. And I would suggest that you maybe start and slowly try to understand an orchestral score, how it's written, what the notes are, and actually who is playing. That's the first question. You don't have to be able to hear and see every note and understand all the notes. And sometimes these scores are even transposed. So even I am like, okay, this is a horn in F, and this is a trumpet in B flat. So and this is the clarinet in bass clarinet in B flat. So that's an octave and a second below that is what it's written. So sometimes it's quite complex to understand, to know exactly what note they're playing. But knowing who comes in at what time and following the rhythm, following the general rhythm of a score can really help you understand and hear also how a section sounds. Well, if the whole woodwind section starts at one point, then you understand and you see it in the score, or you see it coming also, you anticipate it, and you try to look for it in the sound. Then when you're composing by yourself, even with only sample libraries, you will have this knowledge that you will have developed. So this is my suggestion for you. But if you just want to have fun with sound libraries, I mean, alone in your basement, that's fine. And I will try to provide you for as much material on my channel as I can for you. But otherwise, let's see another figure. You're a cinematic composer. You write for film. You write for publicities. You write for video games. Now, a lot of this music, of course, is done only with digital instruments. Some of these industries don't really have quite the budget that you need for a real live orchestra. Only the bigger productions have these, and it's only the projects that the bigger composers get. But still, I would say, if you want to be different from the other composers in your field, in this particular field, then maybe learning how to work with real performers to give them some indications on a score. This could help you to have a unique sound, because of course, working in the studio, and I say it multiple times here on my channel, it's really one of the most unique thing to develop a unique sound that you want, because you can give verbal indications to your performer. And if you have a score that gives most of the information there on the pitch, on the rhythm, on the tempo, and on the dynamics, then the performer really gets in one quick look what you want, and you can give him or her more indications afterwards. Because I would say that if you hire a musician by the hour in your studio and you don't have any scores, and you say, well, he or she's gonna listen to some of the music, and then he or she will reproduce it and take some time and will take an extra hour or two. Well, it's going to cost you more and obviously less money in your pockets, right? Because sometimes the producers, unfortunately, don't care. They give you a certain budget and you have to do the music with this budget. So if you write nice scores that are clear and concise, it will save you a lot of time working with a real performer in that case. And again, working with a real performer in this industry can really help you stand out from the crowd. Because right now, everybody has access to playing with sample libraries, but not everybody has access and knowledge also to work with a real musician. Now, another category of person, if you were doing some rock music, you don't necessarily have to learn how to write music. It always depends how complex the music you're doing is. Because certainly for the guitar, there's guitar tabs that are quite a nice way to communicate some information to other performers. But still, you don't always have such a clear way to communicate the rhythm. It's kind of a combination of using your ear and playing the right notes at the right time. So certainly in that case, it's kind of it depends who you're working with as well. But we're talking about rock. But if you're working or you want to work in the pop industry, a lot of times the performers working in this industry, it's one of the most lucrative industry of all the music industries. So they often have some of the best performers. And often these performers have a degree in music and quite a large knowledge on how to read scores. So they will often expect a score and a lead sheet, something that they can rely on to understand quickly what they have to play. Sometimes they arrive the same day, they sight read the music because it's very easy for them to do. They do it every day and they just play your arrangement like this. But otherwise, I'm saying this, but there are so many more styles of music that don't necessarily use scores. We can think of electronic music. There's some world music that have different cultures that really rely on the mouth-to-mouth communication. So they're quite used to use their ears. So in that regard, if you want to work in this field, it might be less important to learn how to write music for these. But otherwise, I think there's quite a lot of arguments to say that it's important to at least understand the basic of music writing. It can give you access to a lot of knowledge. It can give you access to working with real performers in the studio. Even if you don't expect to be doing this anytime soon, you might want to prepare for this if you want to do a career in music, or if you want to get serious about this, or at least if you want to have a few experience with music during your lifetime. Now, thank you for listening, and I hope this helped. See you soon.